Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Mountain View, the juz' a day for perspective, problem solving in a proactive way. We are here in juz' 16 in the Quran today, and we're thinking, when we're thinking about perspective and problem solving, we're thinking about how is the Quran coming into my life and helping me to understand my life, understand what I need to do, understand how I need to live so I can be of the su'ada ad-darain, those who are happy in both worlds. So we are in Surah Al-Kahf. For those who are following along, of course, juz' 16, the 16th juz' begins in the middle of the surah, not in the beginning. We are already at the place where Musa alayhi salam has not had patience. Literally, the first verse of the juz' is قَالَ أَلَمْ أَقُلْ لَكَ إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. Didn't I tell you? You're not going to be able to have patience. So we start there with the juz', which by itself is interesting. Like, what are the things that you don't have patience with, and what happens there? SubhanAllah, with this story, Moses, or Musa, he gets to find out the meaning of what he couldn't have patience with, but he doesn't get to learn any more lessons. قال إن سألتك عن شيء بعدها فلا تصاحبني قد بلغت من لدني عذرا. So if one more after this, خلاص, so he does have one more. And then قال هذا فراق بيني وبينك. We are, this is the breaking up of us. They're breaking up. This is the separation between me and you. And now I'm going to explain what you have seen. And so Khudr explains to Musa all the different things he's seen. We're not going to go into all of those details. I just want to think about this idea of sabr and learning. And we're at the 16th of Ramadan. And on the 16th juz', it starts off reminding us that it's important to have sabr in the things that we're doing. Sabr is grit. Sabr is strength. Sabr is mental strength. Sabr is don't give up on Allah. Don't give up on Allah. Keep on moving forward and understand that Allah has a plan. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's a reason for that. So figure it out. All right, let's go to the bottom of the page. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنْ ذِي الْقُرْنَيْنِ. They ask you about ذِي الْقُرْنَيْنِ. Now, so this is a new person and a new story in Surah Al-Kahf that we reach. قُلْ سَأَتْلُ عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْهُ ذِكْرًا. So now here's a little story and a thing about him. The whole next page is about ذِي الْقُرْنَيْنِ and what happens with him. Of course, the story is that he shows up and these people are like, we need help. We need you to help us against these people, against these creatures. And who are these creatures? Ya'juj and Ma'juj. And this is part of a story that brings together the history of the world with the future of the world. And when you are reading the Quran and you read these things, you are reminded, I'm reminded, we get perspective to see and know that every part of our life today is connected to that which came before and connected to that which is coming. And what we have to do in our space here is protect ourselves from the harm of the past, subhanAllah, and work to be ready for the difficulties of the future. So that we can be of the su'ada ad-darain. So when we go in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're safe. And we bring with us our good deeds. So they said, قالوا يا ذا القرنين إن يأجوج ومأجوج مفسدون في الأرض فهل نجعل لك خرجا على أن تجعل بيننا وبينهم سدا. They said, يا ذا القرنين. These Ya'juj and Ma'juj, they are mufsiduna fil ard. They are causing trouble in the earth. They are causing trouble. What exactly was the trouble? We don't know. The Mufassirin have different discussions around that, but ultimately in the end we don't know. So can you create for us a barrier between us and them? Now, when I said, if you think about your past, what is it of your past life? Your childhood, or your own early adulthood, or a past life before you became Muslim, or a past life before you came back to your religion that is causing chaos in your life today? What is it of these things that is causing chaos in your life today? And subhanAllah, as we grow, there will be things. There will be things. There will be ways that your childhood, your young adulthood affect you, that you are there. So how do you create a barrier between these two things? You saw a dream about me going to Hajj. Oh, Wallahi, may Allah make it true. Ameen. May Allah make it true. Ameen. And so he says to them, قال ومكنني فيه ربي خير فأعينوني بقوة. Help me then. I like this story too because they ask for help, which is good. Ask for help, but then you have to be ready to do the work too. So they get up to do the work. اجعل بينكم وبينهم ردما. So I can make a wall between you, or a barrier between you. Now, there are a lot of, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but in pop psychology, and that's what I'm most familiar with, there's a lot of talk about managing and understanding our early life so that we can move forward with things. And here what I find interesting is they want a barrier to stop the harm from coming. And ultimately, if you have friends that can't come from a different life, like before you were a Muslim, or friends who come from a time before you were practicing, or just your friends that are taking you to a place that is harming you. And how do you know it's harming you? If it's taking you away from Allah. Those friends, you need a barrier between you and them. And it can just be a boundary. It can just be a boundary, but you need a barrier. You can't let them take you away from your Jannah. You have a place in Jannah, inshallah. Don't let the people that are influencing you negatively take you away from that Jannah. They can take you away one way or the other. They can be like Ya'juj and Ma'juj, causing fasad, causing trouble, causing problems. Or they can take you away because you see them as troublemakers, and then they overwhelm you with bitterness and just overwhelm. Atuni zubra al-hadid. And so he said, give me iron. And they built this barrier. Now we know that before the Day of Judgment, that barrier will fall, and Ya'juj and Ma'juj will come back to the earth and cause fasad on the earth, and nothing will be able to get rid of them but one weapon, and that weapon is dua. So keep that in mind as you are now in the middle of Ramadan and struggling with your nafs and struggling with whatever it is you're meant to learn. Dua is going to help you. Dua will help you. All right, we move forward now to Surah Maryam. We move to Surah Maryam. In Surah Maryam, we have a whole bunch of people coming to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is showing us one little story after another, little bits of stories, pieces of stories, all around the life of Maryam. It starts with Zakaria and his dua. Nada rabbahu nida'an khafiyya. He said, he called upon his Lord, khafiyya, a deep and quiet calling. And he's saying, I'm old now, my head is gray. وَلَمْ أَكُمْ مِنْ دُعَائِكَ رَبِّي شَقِيًّا. And I can open the translation to get that correct, but as he's discovering, okay, let's open the translation just so that I don't play around. You know, I don't like to do that. All right, so Surah Maryam. He says he called out to his Lord in the secrecy of his heart. How many times have you done that? He prayed, my Lord, feeble have become my bones, and my head glistens with gray hair. But never, my Lord, has my prayer to you remained unanswered. Imagine, your whole life until now you are old and you recognize that all of your dua has been answered, except for one. He didn't get to have that child that he wanted. He says, وَإِنِّي خِفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ مِنْ وَرَائِي وَكَانَتْ امْرَأَتِي عَاقِرًا. I fear my kinsmen, what they will do after I'm gone, for my wife is barren. So now he makes a dua. فَهَبْ لِي, give me this gift. مِنْ لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا. Give me a successor, give me a child that will be my heir and the heir of the house of Jacob, and make him my Lord, one with whom you are pleased. And he's asking for a child. And we know, he just said, all of my dua has been answered. How do you become a person that your dua is answered? Well, first of all, you already are. In Ramadan, you already are. So you're fasting, when you break your fast, your dua is answered. Ask of Allah. You're getting up and praying Taraweeh. During your Taraweeh, ask of Allah. You're finishing your Quran, ask of Allah. There are so many opportunities in the month of Ramadan to be a person of an answered dua. Don't squander your opportunities by only eating and not making dua, by not making dua. And even here, like, his dua is in his heart, so make sure your heart is connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they answer, they say, Zakaria, Ya Zakaria, inna nubashiruka bi ghulamin, ismuhu Yahya. We give you the good news of the birth of a son, Yahya. Yahya means life. لَمْ نَجْعَلَهُ مِنْ قَبْلِ سَمِيًّا. Nobody has had that name before. So now, what does he do? He's like, but wait, this doesn't make sense. قَالَ رَبِّي أَنَّا يَكُونُ لِي غُلَامًا. How am I going to have a son? وَكَانَتْ امْرَأَتِي عَاقِرًا. My wife is barren and she's older. وَقَدْ بَلَغْتُ مِنْ كِبَرِ عَتِيًّا. He too is old. How is this going to happen? And he says, قال كذلك قال ربك هو علي هين وقد خلقتك من قبل ولم تك شيئا. It's easy for your Lord. Now, has that ever happened to you when you thought, Ya Allah, I want this thing, but then you got it and then you were like, wait, what? How can that happen? And you weren't quite ready to handle it in your life. Our lives, and remember this is for perspective, our lives are surrounded by the beautiful plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is very little that we can choose in our life. Much of it we cannot. And what you need to do in that space is recognize Allah's gifts and embrace them and move forward in full embracing of that new blessing. So he says, give me a sign. And his sign is he's going to fast from speaking. What happens when you can't talk to people? Your thinking goes deeper. Your thinking goes deeper. Your dua is stronger. Sometimes Allah trials you with something that you can't talk to people about because it's embarrassing or it's hard. I've had trials like this. And so then you're forced into the silence of Zakaria, where the only one you can talk to is Allah. That is not a punishment, that is a blessing. You are blessed when the one you can talk to is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that is the only one that can actually help you. And I like to talk about my problems, I like to talk to people, I like to solve problems by talking to people. But when you are talking to Allah, that is the best place that you are. That is the best place that you are. So make sure that you don't stop. Because that's the scary thing that can happen is you start to feel overwhelmed and you get to that place where you're being pushed, where you're being pushed because you have no one to talk to and you don't know what to do. Now cross over the line and talk to Allah. Don't just stay in that place of pressure. Cross over the line and talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All right. Then we hear about Yahya and then Maryam herself. Now Maryam herself receives angel Jibreel, Allah, in the form of a man. I love this story because it reminds me, because when I was Christian, I really liked this. I mean, When I was Christian, the story of Maryam and Jibreel was different than the story in the Quran, because the Bible presented her as very much afraid. And what I love about this story is it presents Maryam, at least in my reading of it, it presents her as a very strong person who knew herself. You know, one danger in the path is if you don't know yourself, you can come across all sorts of trials that pull you off the path because you don't know what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are. And she knows who she is. She knows she's a believer. She knows what she'll do and what she won't do. And so when Angel Jibreel comes to her, her response is قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن. I seek refuge in the merciful, mink, from you. إن كنت تقيا, if you are of the people of taqwa. Her tone in my ears is so strong and so clear. Imagine being faced. Now, what's happening here is that she is receiving a blessing from Allah, but she doesn't know that's what it is. It looks like something scary to her because in the shape of a man. Any woman, a young woman alone in a room, the strange man shows up, is going to feel strange about that and nervous about that. She doesn't know this is the greatest blessing ever for her that will be talked about until the end of time. People are going to argue about it. Did it really happen or not? Was it real? Was it not? She is about to receive a blessing no woman before or after ever received. She doesn't know that. All she sees in front of her is what looks like a trial, and she says, أعوذ بالرحمن منك. I seek refuge in the merciful from you. He says to her, قال إنما أنا رسول ربك. I am a messenger to you from your Lord. لأهب لك, to give you a gift. A gift of what? غلاما زكيا, a child, a whole intelligent lad. And so now her response is قالت أن يكون لي غلاما ولم يمسسني بشر ولم أك بغيا. How will I have a child and no man has touched me, and that's not changing? So she is being told about something impossibly difficult. And she doesn't laugh, she doesn't mock. She asks a question, how? How can that happen when I know who I am, and I know who I am isn't going to change? قال كذلك قال ربك هو أعلي هين لنجعله آية للناس ورحمة منا وكان أمرا مقضيا. So he said to her, this is what your Lord said, that it is easy for me, for Allah. We will make him a sign for humankind and an act of grace from us. It is a matter that has been decreed. And so very simply, the next verse, فَحَمَلَتْهُ فَانْتَبَذَتْ بِهِ مَكَانًا قَضِيًّا. So she conceived him and left to a far off place. Maryam, at this point, has just taken on a blessing that is hard. Sometimes your blessings are hard, but and Maryam always saw him as a blessing, carried him forth, recognized the difficulties. Be careful of seeing your blessings as the absolute thing you prayed for and asked Allah for. Be careful of complaining about them. This is, if you were following my 40 lessons, that's one of the lessons in there. When Allah gives you what you asked for, exactly what you wanted, and now you're like, but wait, no, I changed my mind. That's not what I want. No, I don't want that. It's too hard. I thought I wanted this, but it's too hard. I thought I wanted a degree, but that means I have to study. I thought I wanted a husband, but that means I got to live with somebody. All of this, yeah. I thought I wanted children, but that means I need to give up of myself. Yep, that's what it means. A lot of that. And so be careful when you ask for a dua, when you do something, that you don't start to complain about the very blessing you asked for. Now with Maryam, she didn't ask for this. It just came to her and was given to her, and she accepted it and took it on as her duty, as her mission in life, and it stayed as her mission in life to the end of time. Even today we talk about Maryam, Mary, we talk about Jesus, Isa. We have, we as Muslims, believe in him, believe in this birth, love him, love her, and recognize the story as true, even in its difficulties. If you continue in Surah Maryam, we'll go forward. Let's go to 58. And get the English, one moment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now, well, he's talked about others. He's talked about Idris. واذكر في كتابك في الكتاب إدريس إنه كان صديقا نبيا. But that's not the verse I'm talking about. أولئك الذين أنعم الله عليهم. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us about some of the prophets. These are the prophets of whom God has bestowed his blessings. من ذرية آدم وممن حملنا مع نوح ومن ذرية إبراهيم وإسرائيل وممن هدينا. All from Noah, the ark of Noah, from Abraham and Israel, and those who are chosen, those who are guided. All of this story. Remember I said about the past and the present and the future. Part of our past is the past prophets. They came, they spoke, they guided. People believed, some didn't. The ones who didn't were punished. The ones who believed followed. They lived, they died. They went to the barzakh to await Jannah. Those who didn't believe, they died. They went to the barzakh to await Nar. We are simply in a repetition of history. And here we have a sujood verse, a verse of sajda. إذا تطلع عليهم آيات الرحمن خروا سجدا وبكيا. And if and when the revelations of the Most Merciful were recited to them, they fell down in prostration, weeping. SubhanAllah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. The Quran, may Allah make us of those who understand it. And if you speak Arabic out there, let me just say, you have more to answer for than the rest of us. I've learned it, so I have more to answer for than those who don't speak it at all. But the ability to hear the Quran and understand it, this is a gift. I have a very funny story about my early days. I just can't even tell it. It's too funny because it's too weird, like of my ignorance of the Arab world. But I didn't even know, I didn't know when I first became Muslim that there was a thing called a Christian Arab. I didn't know. And then I was like, wait, what? How? I don't get it. The Quran is in Arabic. I'm so naive about the world. But I couldn't understand it because for me, I was so certain of that the Quran is from God. So how could it be that people, for me, I'm struggling to understand and access it, struggling to access the Quran. How could it be that people can understand, don't see that? So that was my mindset. Of course, I'm older now, I'm more mature. I understand nafs and people and shaitan, and I get it. But the idea here is that the one who truly understands the Quran will fall down in prostration and in tears. Now, that past, those generations of believing prophets, the next verse, فَخَلَفَ مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ خَلْفٌ أَضَاعُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَاتَّبَعُوا الشَّهَوَاتِ فَسَوْفَ يَلْقَوْنَ غَيًّا. They were succeeded by generations of people who neglected their prayers and followed their desires, their women desire. Now, that's half of the verse. Now, I just want to pause for a minute. I want to think about our beloved Prophet ﷺ and the state of our ummah today. If our Prophet were to come and see us, would he say, what has happened to the succeeding generations? How is it that so many of you don't pray? I'm speaking to those of you now who are attending this and you're not serious about your prayer. A lot of times we talked about aqim as-salah, establish prayer. If you're a person who's struggling with your prayer, this is the call to change that. Our lives are connected to our past and our present and our future. We are connected to the past. Whatever is in our past, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not judge you but fairly. He will be merciful with you. If you had difficult childhood, you had spiritual abuse, you had whatever, it's there, Allah knows it. But we also have the past of all the prophets who came before, the past of all the ummahs that were guided and then fell off. We do not want to be of those who fell off. Don't be of those who fall away. Don't be of those who fall away. Be of those who hold on to the rope of Allah tightly with two hands until your knuckles are white. Hold on when it's difficult. Hold on when it's tough. Pray. Pray dhuhr. Pray asr. Pray maghrib. Pray isha. Pray fajr. And once you've established that, start making up the ones you've missed. Be of the people of prayer. And don't be of those who your desires and your whims take you this way and that way. Now that happens in desires, physical desires, and all the things. But when you let your desires take you, your soul suffers. Your soul suffers. And your desires can take you not only in the kaba'ir, the things we usually talk about, not only in those things, when you allow yourself to criticize and find everybody else ugly and everyone else is the problem and everybody else is this and everybody else is that, it is soul sucking. And you can lose so much. It can eat away at your faith even. So remember the prophets who came before our prophet. And remember the people who followed them and then did not. The next generations became less and less. And do not be of the people of the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam who were of the less and less. Be of the people who are of the more and more. Be of the people who are of the more, and be willing to give up whatever it is that is stopping you from being of the people who are more and more. At the end of Surah Maryam in verse 96 and 97, we're talking again about the believers. And Inna alladhina, listen to this now. You ready for the most beautiful verse maybe that we're talking? I don't know. I keep saying this, but Inna alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati. So if you believe and do good deeds, they have to come together. سَيَجْعَلُ لَهُمُ الرَّحْمَنُ وُدًّا. If you are of the believer who does good deeds, Allah will make of you, the merciful will make of you, let's see how it's translated here, will bestow upon you love. Wadda, love. Allah is al-wadud. So if you are believing and doing good deeds, expect the love of Allah. Expect love, period. And then see that love. Don't be the person who has all these people who love Allah loving you, and you're like, but I want the love of that person over there. No, what do you want the love of a person who loves shaitan for? Why? Want the love of the people who love Allah. And Allah will give it to you. It's a promise. It's a promise. فَإِنَّمَا, and there's another verse after this that is very beautiful. فَإِنَّمَا, and this relates to what I just said. فَإِنَّمَا يَسَّرْنَاهُ بِلِسَانَكَ لِتُبَشِّرَ بِهِ الْمُتَّقِينَ وَتُنْذِرَ بِهِ قَوْمًا لُدًّا. And we have made it easy to understand the Quran in your own tongue. Ya ayyuhal Arab. So that you may give good tidings to the God-fearing and give warning to those who are given to futile contention. Just waste of time arguing. The Quran was revealed in the tongue of our beloved Prophet so he could live it and teach us of it. And you and I can learn it. Look, I'm not the best in Arabic. Ask the Arabs around me. But I know stuff, and I can understand. When I open the Quran, while I can't always translate those words perfectly, I understand most of it. And I did that over years of learning Arabic, and we built a program at Rabata so you could do that. And I worked with Anse Tamara Gray, Dr. Anse Tamara Gray from Oxford University. If you have not heard of our Arabic program, please go see it. It is a program that is built on motivation theory, on Arabic as a second language. You, by next Ramadan, can be reading the Quran and understanding 40 to 50% of what you read. Do not lose this opportunity. We will have a spring semester. Come on, team, drop the link. Drop the link. We will have a spring semester registration. Is either open or opening soon. Sign up. So by next Ramadan, you are a person who understands when Allah says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ سَيَجْعَلُ لَهُمْ رَحْمَنُ وُدًّا. You understand, you're like, okay, wow, Allah, you love me and you're going to send me love of all people. It might not look like the love that Hollywood says. It might not look like Disney's love, and it might not look like the love that you think you need, but Allah will send you the love that you need. So see it and embrace it and love it. Love the love that Allah sends you. Learn Arabic. Learn Arabic. I saw the link in there, register.rabata.org. And it's open for the spring term. Go forth and learn Arabic, ya jama'ah. Come back next year so you are understanding. You're going to thank me and you're going to be so happy. And this program it's the real deal. It's the real deal. Get started on Arabic. In a year, in the fall, we're going to open up admission to next year, September 2026, bachelor's degree. You could even get a bachelor's degree in Arabic language, linguistics, and literature. How cool would that be? All right. So as we close up our day today, thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to put up an update on my bingo card. I don't think I quite made it, but I'm very close. I actually have some notifications I haven't seen yet. So I don't know. Maybe I made it, maybe I didn't. But just in case, help me finish up that bingo card. And remember that we are here. I'm here every day, 24 hours a day, working to try to build programs to make your lives more beautiful in this life and to help you all go to Jannah. We'll go there together. So support our work. And yes, an online BA degree, inshallah, Sophia. So support us, and you can do a one-time donation, or you can become a monthly donor at drop the links to donation, please. There you go, rabata.org/support. So you can support us and help us grow, help us reach our goal this month. And mashallah, we had somebody donate the other day who said, I'm donating to you from the future of my daughters. It was a really big donation, mashallah. So join him and may Allah reward you. We do have Rabata Malaysia. Yes, we are based in Minnesota, actually, our headquarters, but we do have Rabata Malaysia. If you're in Malaysia, you can reach out to Rabata Malaysia. Find them on Instagram as well. Or maybe there are other places as well. All right. Have a beautiful day, everybody. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you all. I will post about my bingo card in a little bit. And you can, if I'm not done yet, help me finish, okay? Allah, have a beautiful day. Assalamu alaikum, everybody.